Hi, my name is Aubrey Rich, and in this presentation, I will be discussing vegetarian and vegan diets and a meal plan that can be followed in order to receive all of the nutrients found in animal products they don't consume. Veganism and vegetarianism are similar diets in that they are both concerned with consumption of animal products. However, there is one key difference between them. A vegetarian is a person who does not eat meat, someone whose diet consists wholly of vegetables, fruits, grains, nuts, and sometimes eggs or dairy products. Consumption of eggs or dairy products is up to the individual, but they are still considered to be vegetarian because these products are not meat. Vegans, on the other hand, are strict vegetarians who consume no foods such as meat, eggs, or dairy products that come from animals. Vegans may even choose not to use animal products like leather, and many decide not to use animal products. There are many reasons people choose to become vegetarians or vegans, some of which are ethical concerns, impacts on climate change, health benefits, and religious beliefs. In an unfortunate amount of cases, the animals from which we receive these products are not held in ideal environments, and many living conditions in the mass producing industries are borderline torturous. By not consuming animal products, there becomes less of a demand for them to be made and sold. With more food going to waste in grocery stores, less of these products will be produced, meaning that less animals will be harmed or killed, and industrial facilities won't have as great of an issue of overcrowding. Following a vegan or vegetarian diet will also decrease the negative impact on climate change due to the reduction of greenhouse gases. According to Peter Scarborough in his article Dietary Greenhouse Gases Emissions of Meat Eaters, Fish Eaters, Vegetarians, and Vegans in the UK, quote, an average 2,000 kcal high meat diet had 2.5 times as many greenhouse gas emissions than an average 2,000 kcal vegan diet, unquote. Numerous greenhouse gases are emitted in the creation and maintenance of industrial plants that mass produce animal products. Some examples include the release of carbon dioxide as forests are cut down to make room for farms, and the release of nitrous oxide from cattle waste on pastures mixing with chemical fertilizers. Certain religions, like Jainism, have beliefs that align with veganism. Jainism in particular is very against violence and strongly believes in karma. By eating a vegan diet, they are not showing support towards animal cruelty and minimize the bad karma that would come with supporting such actions. While there are many pros to following a vegan or vegetarian diet, there are also some negative aspects to such a lifestyle. The biggest negative to not eating animal products is the possibility for nutrient deficiencies. Vegans and vegetarians have to find other sources of protein, vitamin B12, iron, calcium, and omega 3 fatty acids. Vitamin B12 aids in the production and maintenance of healthy nerves and red blood cells. Iron is crucial for the production of hemoglobin, which is responsible for transporting oxygen in the blood. A lack of iron can lead to anemia. Calcium is a necessary mineral for the creation, growth, and maintenance of strong bones. It also contributes to blood clotting and, in turn, proper heart function. Omega 3 fatty acids help to keep you in good cardiovascular health by reducing triglycerides and LDL cholesterol, which in turn will decrease blood pressure. And then finally, protein is crucial for proper muscle growth and function, creation and repair of new cells, and acts as a large energy source for the body. While these next two cons aren't as serious, they are still factors to consider when becoming vegan or vegetarian. With any dietary restrictions, there is a certain level of social limitation or stress that will be experienced. When going to a dinner party or an event like a wedding with a set menu, there is concern that there won't be a vegan or vegetarian option. This is especially difficult for vegans because they can't consume meals prepared with milk, which is very common in many recipes. So even if like the event did serve pasta, a lot of times pasta sauce has milk in it, so that would be an issue for a vegan but not a vegetarian. There may also be some budgetary constraints to following diets like these. While not buying meat may reduce the initial grocery bill, many specialized or organic substitutes may be just as expensive, if not more. So upon my initial Google search, of vegetarian and vegan meal plans. The first thing that I was met with was an AI overview of the topic and some meal options that Google AI found to match the diet. I wouldn't suggest that someone should base all of their diet plans and information about veganism and vegetarianism on what Google AI says. Yes, it does gather information from other sources throughout the internet, but we still can't really determine for sure that these sources are reliable. Google AI is a quick and easy way to get ideas about possible meal plans and dishes, but I still suggest that you take a deeper look into what it suggests in order to determine that the meals will provide the necessary nutrients that vegans and vegetarians are not getting from meat or animal products. The next common thing that popped up was meal planning and prepping websites like HelloFresh, EatingWell.com, The Kitchen, and Purple Carrot. A lot of the information on these websites comes from someone's personal experience and they are just sharing their tips and tricks. They typically talk about their favorite recipes or how they meal prep for the week. And while this information that they provide isn't necessarily wrong, it could be reliable because it's based on their lived experiences. I would take it with a grain of salt because the writers on these websites are rarely registered dietitians. However, I will say on eatingwell.com, a lot of times it is a registered dietitian that comes up with the meal plan, or if it's not, it's reviewed by a registered dietitian. But still, if you want to make your own diet, you should use a bit of like your own personal research and figure out um, from reliable sources what you would want to eat. And then the third and most reliable source that came up was the Mayo Clinic. So, the Mayo Clinic is a nonprofit health organization equipped with actual medical staff and writers who have a better understanding of the biological side of vegetarian and vegan diets. The Mayo Clinic itself has come up with many diet plans and programs based on different goals, and they actually have a questionnaire that you can fill out for free, and they'll match you with one of these diet plans they've created. Websites like this are more reliable sources of factual scientific information rather than just experience based opinions from people who haven't gone on and gotten the certification. Other reliable sources of information include peer reviewed articles written by registered dietitians. I've used a few of them in this presentation already by dietitians Tian Wang and Andreas Macedonskis. And a good place to find these articles like theirs are Google Scholar and PubMed. Now let's get into an actual meal plan for a day for a vegetarian and a vegan. I'll start with the vegetarian meal plan. For breakfast, I found this berry bowl with quinoa and walnuts recipe created by registered dietitian Sharon Palmer. The base of the bowl is a plant-based yogurt in the recipe, so it technically can be vegan as well, but as a vegetarian, that's up to you if you want to use a plant-based yogurt or an animal-based yogurt. Yogurt is a good source of protein, vitamin B12, calcium, and potassium. The berries that Palmer chose for this recipe are blackberries, strawberries, and blueberries, which all together are a good source of vitamin C and potassium. The addition of quinoa boosts the amount of protein, vitamin B, iron, and fiber. And finally, the walnuts provide a source of omega-3 fatty acids. And then for lunch, I found a lemon roasted vegetable hummus bowl, which is a recipe made by registered dietitian Carolyn Hodges. And this recipe is stocked with vegetables and alternative sources of protein like avocado, hummus, and quinoa. And then the broccoli and cauliflower within this recipe provide a source of iron, calcium, and fiber. In total, this recipe contains 12 grams of protein. And lastly, for dinner, I found a vegetarian bolognese pasta dish made by a registered dietitian, Debbie Murphy. The ingredients of this dish include yellow onion, carrots, celery, garlic, leaf bay, Italian seasoning, vegan ground beef, marinara sauce, and tomato paste, vegetable broth, vegan Worcestershire sauce, and pasta noodles. The vegan ground beef could be substituted for tofu, which is very common food eaten by vegans and vegetarians. That is a solid substitute for protein since it's made of soy. Carrots and yellow onions provide you with potassium and vitamin B6. Celery is a source of iron, calcium, potassium, and zinc. This dish looks so delicious, I might just make it myself, even though I'm not a vegetarian, but it just looks so good. It also has 19 grams of protein, so in total for this day, these meals would have 44 grams of protein. This is a little bit low, so I would suggest adding in some protein bars or protein shakes throughout the day, just to make sure that you're meeting your body's needs. And now for the vegan meal plan. For breakfast, we have a recipe for chickpea pancakes topped with nutrient filled vegetables. The chickpea flour used for the pancakes is full of protein, so it'll get your day started with lots of energy and satisfaction. The yellow onion, red peppers, and cilantro leaves provide a bit of potassium, calcium, iron, and magnesium. The avocado and hummus on the side also provide an added amount of protein to the dish. The other things I like about this recipe is that it's totally customizable, especially once you've experimented with a lot of different fruits and vegetables and found your favorites. You can add whatever you'd like as a topping to these protein rich pancakes. Next up, we have our vegan lunch, which is a kale Caesar salad with tofu croutons created by registered dietitian Carolyn Hodges once again. This salad contains 20 grams of protein, and the actual tofu croutons that top this dish are made with extra firm tofu, lemon juice, vegan Worcestershire sauce, garlic powder, onion powder, and olive oil. These croutons are packed with protein, calcium, iron, and zinc, and the salad itself contains Placental kale, nutritional yeast, toasted pumpkin seeds, avocado, and vegan Caesar dressing. The kale itself contains protein, fiber, calcium, and iron. Pumpkin seeds actually contain a good amount of protein, fiber, iron, potassium, calcium, and zinc. And then the addition of avocado provides many B vitamins, including vitamin B12, as well as potassium, vitamin C, and fiber. This is a pretty easy dish to make and is packed with nutrients that vegans need since they don't eat animal products. And when dinner time rolls around, you can have this really delicious looking mushroom stroganoff recipe created by Sylvia Fontaine. The whole wheat pasta base provides extra protein, potassium, iron, and calcium, and using extra virgin olive oil instead of regular olive oil provides more antioxidants and monounsaturated acids to the body, or monounsaturated fats. And adding mushrooms and onions to this dish boosts the amount of B vitamins, including vitamin B12. In all, this dish has 12 grams of protein, which is a little bit less than what a non vegan would have in their proper dinner. So, the dietitian who created this dish made a meal plan along with it that suggested eating cucumbers and edamame throughout the day as a snack for additional nutrients. And here are all the sources that I used for this presentation. Thank you so much for following along, and I hope that these recipes looked delicious.